Join me today as we take a closer look inside fēnix 8, from quickly covering some of the basics to looking at the updated user interface, using our activities and apps, plus changing your data fields. My goal today is to give you a deeper dive into our most advanced and toughest fēnix ever. We have merged both our beautiful AMOLED display watches and our legacy MIP solar charging displays into one iconic brand, fēnix. For the purpose of today's video, I'll be using the fēnix 8 47mm AMOLED in the carbon gray DLC titanium with a dual color black and pebble gray band. However, there are several size, color, and lens material choices available for both the AMOLED and MIP solar versions. While the information provided today applies specifically to the fēnix 8, the new user interface will mostly apply to the Enduro 3 and fēnix E as well. By now, you've taken your fēnix 8 out of the box, charged it, powered it on, and paired it to your compatible smartphone. So let's get started. You may have noticed during setup that you were able to adjust the text size on your screen. This is a much welcome new feature. The watch I'm using today was increased by 2 sizes for better readability on camera. You can always change the font size again by finding it in the settings menu, which we'll cover here in a little bit. Okay, let's get started with the upper left-hand button. The upper left-hand button is your power button, but it also functions in other ways. So you can press and hold it to get into your control wheel menu, or if you double tap it, it turns on your flashlight. You quickly can adjust the brightness level right away with your up and down menus. You have 4 levels of white and 1 level of red with your flashlight, or you can just double tap to turn it back off. If you press and hold the button, that's what gets into your control wheel, and from here you can access a lot of the different apps and features that we have inside the fēnix 8. So you can either just scroll with your finger here or use the up and down buttons, but you can power your device off. One of my favorite features is the Find My Phone. So if you've got it paired and you've lost your phone inside the house, you can try to locate it. You can set your Do Not Disturb settings, look at your Garmin Pay wallet. Inside clocks, this is where you could set alarms, do timers, a stopwatch, create a countdown. So lots of choices there. You can save your current location as a waypoint. This is also another way to access the flashlight menu where you can adjust those settings or turn it on and off. The tip here is whatever you leave it on in this location is what it will go back to the next time you double tap the flashlight button. And then you also can do redshift mode from here, which completely shifts the display. Now this feature is only available on the AMOLED versions. Our MIP versions don't need this because this helps preserve your night vision. And so you can either have it on red, or if we get into the menus later, you can change that actually to a different color. You can also either turn your touch on and off from here, go into sleep mode, voice command, phone assistant, which are both features that we'll talk about later. You can change your display, whether you want that on or off, and work through your volume as well. Now, if you're inside this control wheel and there's features that you're not finding or you want things that you don't need, if you press and hold the left-hand button, you can either add controls, reorder them, or even remove them. Let's look at the main menu next, which is where you can adjust your watch face or get into your menu settings. And so from the home screen, you're going to press and hold the middle left button. And we've reordered this on fēnix 8 a little bit, but if you're a new user, then you're going to find everything you need really easily. So we start with your watch face, your clocks, and your history. And then after that, it dives into the watch settings. So we'll go in there. This is where you're going to be able to make full system settings. So first, we'll start with notifications and alerts. This is where you can set up what your smart notifications look like, your health and wellness alerts that you might want. Like, do you want a daily summary? Do you want your stress alerts off or on? Do you want to be alerted if you have abnormal heart rate? You can find your jet lag advisor in here, that move alert that can remind you to keep moving throughout the day. Just anything that you want to be able to make those adjustments to, it's available inside the alerts. Morning report is another great feature that people love about fēnix, and you can actually edit that from here. You can even just turn it off if you don't want to get that in the morning, or you can make the choices as to what you'd like to see in that report. You've also got system alerts. And then the notification center, which is new on fēnix 8. Right now, by default, it is turned on, which we'll talk about that feature in a little bit. But you can turn that off if you decide you don't like having the notification center enabled. Moving on to sound and vibe, this is where you'll be able to adjust your volume, your button tones, vibration, just how the watch interacts with you for those alerts. Then next we can get into the display settings. So choosing brightness, right now it's on 2/3, but you can adjust that if you'd like. I typically do not keep my AMOLED displays as always on, so I have that off, but on an MIP solar display, those are always on, and so this doesn't necessarily apply to that version of fēnix 8. But then you can also adjust your text size. Like I mentioned, I made this two times bigger for this video, but you can adjust that however your eyes need it to be. This is where you can change your redshift into a different color if you wanted orange or green. And then gesture mode, you can turn on or off. The timeout, if you want that 15 seconds or shorter. Touch is on or off here as well. And then the touch lock. So touch lock is a new feature on fēnix 8. I have it turned off currently right now, but we'll get to that later in the video where you might decide you want to keep that turned on. Next, we've got connectivity, where you're going to be able to add sensors and accessories. So if you've got external heart rate straps or cadence sensors or trainers, indoor bike trainers, you can add any of those sensors right through here. Make sure that your phone is connected and your Wi-Fi. And then Garmin Share, which is also a new feature that we'll talk about later in the video. You can get some setups there. And then focus modes. So focus modes kind of adjust your settings based on the focus that you're in. So when we're making changes in the regular menu, that's going to be impacting the overall settings of the watch, but inside of focus modes, you're changing the settings for just that time. So if you want to set up your sleep mode, you can tell it, in terms of your notifications and alerts, sound and vibe, and display and brightness settings, you can adjust those just for your sleep mode. Same for your activity. And under activities here inside the menu, this is one way that you can access your individual activities if you'd like to change your data screens, but we're going to do that later, a different way from a different place later on in the video. Moving on, we've got health and wellness. Here you can either turn on and off some of your health and wellness settings. You've got map and navigation features with the map manager. We're going to get to that as well later in the video with some new updates. Safety and tracking. This is where you could turn on your live track, your incident detection, your assistance, and create emergency contacts. Music. You can either do onboard music or you can set up your music providers like Amazon Music or Spotify. Get your headphones set up, etc. You also got your user profile and your power manager, plus your main system settings, which my favorite thing inside of system settings is actually the shortcuts, which used to be called hotkeys, but this is where you can set up certain button presses to make different things happen. And we can get into that more later in the video. So once you're looking at the main watch, you can use the buttons if you'd like, or I'm going to use the touch screen here. If you scroll down, these are your glances. And so there's lots of different glances that you can choose from. This one right out of the box has weather, your sunset times, you've got health and training metrics, your calendar. I've got stocks showing up on here, your compass, so on and so forth. But if you want to edit those glances, you just hit edit. And right here, this is giving you the same list that you just had. And so if you press the upper button, you're able to move these to wherever you want. Or if you scroll all the way to the bottom, you can click add. And then from here, we have the option to create a folder. So if you want to create one folder and then hide different glances inside of it, you can do that. Or just scroll down the list. Like let's say body battery is something that you want to have on your list. So you add it. And then when you go back to your list, it's now here. Hit edit and you want to move that up. You can put that wherever you'd like on your glances. New to the fēnix 8 layout is the notification center, and you access this by scrolling down from the top of your main page. So currently this watch doesn't have any notifications, but this is where you might be able to see some Garmin notifications, things that we've tried to alert you of, but also notifications from your smartphone, so apps or text messages that have come in. We've also made it really easy to be able to clear all of those messages or get rid of them one at a time, and so this is an improvement to our notification center. But the one thing that the notification center does is it changes the way that the widgets or the glances are able to loop. So if you press up or from the buttons, it goes straight to the notification menu. If you press down, that's how you can get into your glances. Previous versions of fēnix, if you press the up button, you'd be able to loop to the bottom of your glances. And if you want to be able to retain that feature, it is something that you can change by accessing the main menu like we talked about earlier, and then removing that notification center from the watch settings under notifications and alerts. And go back to the main screen, and then if you scroll down, you're no longer with the notification center. It's just scrolling through those widgets either from top to bottom. We've also made really big improvements to the watch face editor. So if you press and hold the menu button on the left-hand side and go inside of watch face, you can either edit the watch face that you currently have, which is what we'll do, or if you wanted a different one, you can go search for that as well by clicking the Add New button. But we're just going to change the one that we have. So I'm going to go into my watch face, click Edit. Now you can change all the little data fields that are showing up on the watch. If it currently has battery and you want to make it something else, you can do that. But what I really wanted to show you was these accent colors, because we've added this super new cool color wheel, which actually allows you to kind of move through this entire color wheel in order to really customize your watch face. So I'm going to make this look a little bit brighter here. Let's find something that speaks to me. Here we go. I really like that peach wave. And then I can go to the data color and kind of make something that matches that. We'll try that. And then apply. And there we've completely changed the look of that watch face. Speaking of your watch face, just want to make sure everybody understands that the data fields that we have here on top can actually be long pressed in order to get into that feature. So for example, this top one is showing VO2 max. So I'm going to press and hold it, and it takes me to my VO2 max measurement so I can see that I'm still on track for my training. It works with any of the other data fields as well. Just press and hold, and you can get into this one's your training readiness. One of my favorite tips and tricks about the fēnix is the shortcuts, which we used to call hotkeys, but they work the same. And so I just want to show those off because if you press and hold a different combination of buttons, you can make the watch do different things. So right out of the box, if you press the top right button and the bottom left button together at the same time, that's a shortcut for turning your touchscreen on and off. I use that feature all the time. But if you want to adjust those features or adjust those hotkeys or shortcuts, you can do that by going into the menu like we just did, going down to the watch settings, going all the way down to system settings, and then shortcuts right there at the top. So these are the defaults out of the box, but I often will change these to things that I use most frequently. So you can do the start button, the back button, the down button by themselves, or a combination of two buttons at the same time. And we've left several of them blank to start so that you can fill them in with whatever makes the most sense for your use case. Next up, we're going to talk about our activities and apps button. So the top right button right here will access this main menu that you're going to use all of the time. And so the top portion of this is where your activities are stored. And then down below, we've added a lot more of the apps and functionality of fēnix that is just right there at your fingertips. So first, let's talk about activities, because that's what I know a lot of you want to be doing, these amazing adventures and just epic explorations. So if you start with just activities, this will go into the main list where we've got like just a top list of things that you might be interested in. But if you hit edit, you can always edit what shows up on your list here. These are like kind of your top favorites that you want to do. But if there's something that you just love to do more often than not, you can pin 3 activities to your main start menu. So I'm going to choose running, and I'm going to press and hold. And I can say pin that activity. So what that does is it's taken it out of the list and pinned it to the top. So now I can just easily press, from the beginning just to get into my run really quickly. If you want to have a different activity there, let's say you're going to hike a lot. So you can highlight hike, press and hold the menu button on the side, pin that activity, and now you have 2 activities pinned. And then if you can add a third if you want. Otherwise, just come over here. The rest of them are hiding under the activities. So again, this is your kind of favorites list at the top, which you can always edit. But one thing that's great about fēnix 8 is that we've also added the More button, which means you can always access any of the activity features that we have without actually adding them to your list. So if there's something that you don't play very often that you're just going to do like every once in a while, for me that might be ice skating or pickleball, like I don't want to add those as a pinned activity. I don't want to add them to my favorites list, but I can quickly find them if I need to in order to actually participate in that activity. So that's a new way that the menu structure is, bringing and highlighting your best activities, but always giving you access to everything else. In addition to changing what this menu just looks like at the first layer, we've also adjusted how things look on the inside. So let's say we want to go for that run. So once we enter this, we're calling this now your activity stage, and there's different things that you can kind of look at before you even press the start button to go. Just one note is I'm obviously inside in the middle of a building. My GPS is not going to connect while I'm in here. If it was outside, we'd have no problem doing that. But to start, from this main screen right here, the first thing that you can actually do before you want to go for that run is maybe make sure that your external heart rate or your headphones are still paired. So if you scroll down from the top, that's where you can quickly access your sensors and accessories. You can make sure that your power mode is set up correctly before that run, make sure your phone is connected, make sure you have your satellites on whichever setting it is you want. So just a quick way to access the things that you need the most for that type of activity can be found really quickly, again, just by scrolling down on the menu from inside that activity. Now, if you go down, this is where we're going to start giving you more features that we're just kind of exposing them to you a little bit better than we maybe have in the past. And so your daily suggested workout is going to show up right there for a run. You can, if you have other training plans that you want to be able to do or follow a quick workout or access your workout library, you can access those really quickly before you start your run. You need to navigate to a course or load your course. You can do that from in here, which we've also made it a lot easier to do that by exploring nearby. So again, I don't have GPS in here, but you can search by cities, points of interest, even convenience stores, and then you can navigate to those places directly from inside your activity. There's even a keyboard that you can enter either directly from the watch or even using Garmin Connect Mobile to help you search for those locations and be able to create a route directly to them. So we've just highlighted a lot of those things directly from inside the watch to make it easier before that activity even starts. So that's kind of the first lane that you're in. But if you scroll over, before, again, your activity has ever started, you can see your data fields here and how they're set up. And if you scroll again, you can get to your music controls. So you can make sure that you have whatever you need before your run ready to go. One of our most requested features is how to adjust your data fields to customize them for you. So let's go through the options on how you can do that. You can actually press and hold the left button on the side to get into the main menu, and under activities, you can find all your activities to change their data fields, but I'm going to show you what I think is a little bit easier way right before you take off for your activity. So let's start with this run. Once you're inside the run activity, you have a couple of choices on how you'd like to do that. If you scroll down to the bottom, you can see go to data screens. From here, you're inside the run activity, but you haven't actually started the GPS yet. So you can still press and hold the button and then adjust any of the data fields to however you want to do them before that run. So here I'm in timer field, but I scroll down. I want to change that, let's say, to a cadence field. So I hit the top right button to select it. And then there's even average cadence or lap cadence, last lap, cadence gauge. So let's do that. I want a cadence gauge. So now I've instantly adjusted that data field within the activity. Even better, if you'd like to be able to do this from your phone and not have to use the touchscreen or the buttons on your watch, we have that ability as well. So inside Garmin Connect, you're going to press to see what your watch is at the top, select it from the list, and then you're going to scroll down to activities. And here I've got my run activity pinned, data screens, and then here are the different data screens that you already have on the watch. So if I want to make adjustments to this, I'm just going to hit the top one. I can adjust the layout. So if I don't want 4 data screens, if I want to go to 6, it instantly makes that change over here on the watch. And then from there, I can select, whichever the different field is that I want to make an adjustment on. We'll choose that bottom field. I want to find a different graphical thing, and we want to talk about vertical ratio. So now I've made that change directly on the watch, and now I have graphical on the top and graphical on the bottom. Next, let's talk about inside that run activity a little bit more about what we can do. So once I've got my data field set up, I'm going to go ahead and hit the start button. From here, the timer's running, my distance is going, but let's say I want to hit the bottom left button to lap. But let's say that was an accident and now I don't want to do it. You have a little bit of time where you can actually see down here, if I press this button, it's actually going to throw that lap away. And that's what we call the lap discard. So if you hit the button but accidentally need to change it, you still have the ability to fix that before it goes away permanently. Once you're inside your GPS activity mode, most people have their screen turned off or locked. And so we now have the screen lock where that little bubble pops up. When you touch the screen, you can actually just hold it, swipe it down, and it's going to temporarily unlock your screen so that you can swipe between those pages. So if I go right, I can access my music controls. If I come left, I'm back inside my data fields. I can get down to my map. If I'm on the map screen and I want to change the zoom, I can use the buttons here either as a plus or minus, or I can use the touch screen as well. Then the screen lock is going to automatically come back on, and so my sweat and other environmental factors aren't going to accidentally change my screen. So here I'm locked back out again. And then you can go back to the menu, but now the choices have changed just a little bit. We've added this change sport feature, which I absolutely love because I often will do things like walk first, like I'll walk to a track and then do a track run and then I'll walk home. And instead of starting 3 different activities to do that, I can just start a walk, change the sport to track run, and then change it back to walk and go home. And it will pull all of that together into one fit file and then just put it out as one activity inside my Garmin Connect mobile, which is a great way to do that sort of thing. So again, if after 8 seconds it locks itself, and then you can scroll back through your screens again. So that's just the 3 lanes that you're getting, but don't forget you also just have your regular up and down, like so within your data fields, so you still can scroll within the different data fields and your map that you've set up inside that activity. Now that we're out of the run activity, let's talk about our new activity, diving, which we've brought to the fēnix 8 lineup. So these have leak-proof buttons, but we've also added single gas dive and apnea dive to our profile. So if you press the start button to get into your activities, go down. Again, you can access the more feature down here and get into diving. And then we've got scuba dive, apnea dive, and snorkel, now listed as available features inside fēnix 8. Let's go back and take a look at our updated activities and apps menu. So going back to the main screen for activities, we've already talked about how you can pin these activities to the top, but below it, this is where you can access apps really quickly. So we have our map, the clocks feature, saved, phone, workouts, messenger, voice command, phone assistant, music, voice notes, Garmin Share, your history, and then you can also access the same menu settings that we did earlier here at the bottom of that list. You can also edit this list any way that you'd like if you need to remove things that you're not going to use. Let's talk about a few of these things a little bit deeper inside this list. Let's start with what's really exciting about fēnix 8 is that we've added the speaker and the microphones to this device. And so that really gives you 3 different ways that you can access those functions. We have voice command, we have phone assistant, and voice notes. Let's start with voice notes. So click inside the menu, and then using the top button, this is where you can click record. What's up, YouTube? Like and subscribe. And then from there, you can listen to your message for later. What's up, YouTube? Like and subscribe. If you record multiple voice notes, you'll be able to scroll down and find your list there. And that way, if you have just really great ideas in the middle of a workout or sometime where you don't have a chance to write them down, you can just create voice memos for yourself so that you can always come back to them and listen later. Next, let's take a look at voice command. Voice command is a feature that you can use to utilize the microphone on your device in order to give commands directly to the fēnix 8. So let's take a look. Go up under voice command, tap the button, and then it's going to say listening, and that's when you would give your command. What can I say? Here it's giving me a list of things like start hiking, show me the weather, set a timer for 15 minutes, disable, do not disturb, save location, play music. To see a full list, you can actually scan the QR code listed on the screen. One of my tips is that you can also access the voice command button by using one of our shortcuts. So if you press and hold the start and stop button up here, start a 5-minute timer. And there you go. That's our voice command feature. Next, let's talk about phone assistant, which is where you can access your smartphone's voice assistant to use functionality. Text Brock.
What do you want to say to Brock?
Did you get your Garmin yet?
It says, did you get your Garmin yet?
Yes.
Done.
The next thing I want to talk about is the ability to make and receive phone calls from your fēnix 8. If somebody's calling you, you'll have the ability to just answer the phone directly on the watch, or if you press the start button and scroll down into the apps menu, you can access your phone from right here, or you could use your phone assistant to tell it to make a phone call for you. Moving on to navigation, I want to be able to show you some of the improvements that we've made to our navigation app. So pressing start to get into your activities and apps section and scrolling down to map, you can see that the first thing that we've done is add a distance radius. Here at the top of the screen, you can see we have a 1/10 of a mile shown on the map so that you have a better idea of how far you are away from the streets that are coming up in front of you. You can use your up and down buttons to do the zoom in or zoom out, or use the touch screen to do the same thing. We've also added a toggle here where you can actually touch the orientation button and you can switch between north up or track up. When you're in a north up situation, that radius actually goes all the way around the display so that you can see you're centered in it and you can see in each direction how far you are from that corresponding road. Or you can just touch it to switch back to your track up. From here, we've also added a menu so that you can get to your features of the map quicker. And so if you press that button, you can also select to pan and zoom from here, or you could also choose to navigate, which allows you to use like a full keyboard if you want to search for something. Or again, you can look within like your saved waypoints or courses, explore nearby, or even create your own course. Also within that menu is our map layers section. So we've exposed the ability to turn on and off those map layers a little bit easier, and also gives you the option, if you're interested in getting an Outdoor Maps Plus subscription, to be able to access those directly on your fēnix 8 and toggle on and off the different map layers that you find most useful. You can also get to your map settings, or again, choose to download more maps from here. Next, let's talk about active navigation within an activity. So we're back here on our run, and we're going to hit start. So we still have those lanes. So you've got the data lane here in the center. Scroll to unlock, and then go over. You can get to your music controls, go back to your data lanes. You can go up and down if you need to. But let's say you need to go somewhere all of a sudden that you hadn't planned previously. So we're going to scroll into that menu section. You can go down to navigate. If you have a waypoint that you've saved, you could select that now, but we're going to explore nearby. So you could look for gas stations, restaurants, repair shops, convenience stores. But let's say you need to go to the bathroom. So we're going to look for bathrooms or restrooms that are permanent locations that are close to you. You need to find the nearest one. We're going to select that. Go to. Now, of course, I don't have GPS in here, so it's not going to be able to find it, but you can start that navigation to the restroom that it's going to calculate a route for you. And then you're within either your data screen, you can see the map there. If you come back to the menu page, you now have this active navigation, which you can click onto to find what your route would be, how much time it's going to take you to get there, and giving you instructions on where to go. Next, let's talk about Garmin Share. Garmin Share is a feature where you have the ability to send your courses, waypoints, and workouts to a friend. So inside the app section here, you just hit Garmin Share. It's ready to receive. Now, if you're the person that wants to send that information over, you just scroll down and you can choose your workout, your waypoints, or your courses, and then send it over to your friend's device. Thanks for taking a deep dive with us today on the fēnix 8. I hope I've answered all the questions that you had, and if not, comment down below. For more information on this or other Garmin products, head on over to Garmin.com. I'm Jennifer from Garmin, and I hope I've helped you beat yesterday.